Hey guys, Rivalboss here, and I was just doing a real quick video to kind of show you guys some other things that you can install in your Retropie on your arcade 1UP machine. Now these are games that were not on that image I supplied in another video. If you want to see basically how you get this up and running though with all these other games, go to my other videos I'll post in the description, and they'll just kind of answer some of your questions and also show you how to get this up and running. ETA Prime also does a very nice video about the installing of the hardware. I do more of the software stuff. So anyway, the first thing is Sega Cd Games. These are games that I felt were really good either to play. Let me turn this down here. And by the way, if you ever need to turn the volume down, you just go into your options by pressing the start button. Go down here to the sound settings and just ease it down just a little bit. We'll turn it down to about 70. Okay, so these are games that I felt were not on that image that are really good for this machine, this arcade 1UP. So we have games like Android Assault. This is just a really good, side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. Batman Returns, which is a basically car-driving action game, as you can see up here in the top. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, obviously another kind of car-driving shoot-'em-up. Dark Wizard. Now, this game is kind of questionable because this is a very long game, so you'd have to use save states and stuff. But it's kind of an action RPG, really good one though. Not action RPG, but action strategy game. Dune, which kind of goes in the same line of many, of the kind of action adventure games. Pretty good. Dungeon Explorer. I'm sorry. Dungeon Explorer is a kind of overhead, kind of old RPG, kind of Zelda-ish. It's really good. Gauntlet, a lot like Gauntlet. The best Earthworm Jim version is on the Sega CD. You should definitely have that. Put a flashback on here. This is about the best way to get this running, because the system doesn't, the Retropie doesn't really run 3DO very well, which is, in my opinion, the best version. So Sega CD has a good version too. For those that like Out of This World, they have Heart of the Alien, which is basically the first and second parts of Out of This World. Great on this, great on the arcade 1UP. Jurassic Park, kind of a side-scrolling adventure shoot-'em-up. It's a really good game. Of course, you got to have Kilo Flying Squadron, a cutesy shoot-'em-up that you basically side-scrolling on a little dragon and a girl with her little outfit on. You gotta have that. Lords of Thunder, one of the best soundtracks. I might have to boot this one up for you in a minute. Side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. Great game. Mansion of the Hidden Souls. This is a really good kind of like Seventh Guest style type of game. Really good on the Sega CD though. One of the better games. Mega Race. It's goofy. It's fun. It's kind of like it's a video racetrack, and it's more like an action, but it's a good pickup. This one you could kind of take or leave if you wanted to. Popful Mail, great side-scrolling, kind of like Link 2 action game. Must play on the Sega CD. Rise of the Dragon, kind of a techno-punk, action click adventure. Really good. Another game that you'd probably have to have save states for, but definitely look into. Slipheed is basically just a 3D, shoot-'em-up. Snatcher, of course, the classic, and the game that you would spend $400 or $500 playing anywhere else. Got to have save states with it, but it's amazing. Sonic the Hedgehog CD, some say the best Sonic. I agree with that. The ability to change time in the past and the future, great game, must play on the system. Soulstar is a really cool 3D like front-scrolling shoot 'em up. It's great. Soul Blade. This is probably the best way to play this too. The arcade version doesn't run great on this, so the Sega CD one does though. Space Adventure. This is a take 'em or leave 'em kind of game. Kind of the same thing as Snatcher, just not quite as flushed out. And you can take or leave the story, but it's based on old comic books. It's really good. Time Gal, all these quick time, you know, like kind of like dungeon or Dragon's Lair and stuff. This is a good way to play this. You can find the arcade ROM too, but this one runs really well. So that's kind of what I felt with the Sega CD. That's what you should, like some of the better games that you should add. I will put a description. I will put in the description. These are CDH files. They take up less room than actual ISOs, and you can use these and download the images and stuff, and they're really nice. I mean, that's just epic. But yeah, this game is freaking awesome. Very nice. I got you now, you little criminals! But just kind of a fun game to play. So next up, I kind of wanted to add some PlayStation games. I had a little bit more room on that memory card after that image, and this is the games that I felt worked really well on the PlayStation for this arcade 1UP machine. So starting at the top, we have the Apocalypse with Bruce Willis. This is a kind of like an action, kind of like a Smash TV kind of 3D shooter. It's really good. Then we have, of course, Bloody Roar. I chose Bloody Roar 1. You can put Bloody Roar 2 in there too, just they're interchangeable. They both run really well. These are 3D fighting games where you can transform into beast and fight. Next we have Bushido Blade 2. Bushido Blade 2 is a very different type of shooter, or a different type of fighter. If you've never played Bushido Blade, you should. Imagine like a fighting game where literally one hit kills, and it's all about like positioning and getting the right moment to strike with your sword. Bushido Blade 2 is awesome. Of course, a good side scroller, Symphony of the Night, probably one of the best or the best Castlevania game. Of course, it needs to be on here, and it plays really well on this system. Contra Legacy of War, of course, just like arcade ROMs, it's a good shooter, 3D shooter, uses pixels also, so it runs really well. I've got one Crash Bandicoot game on here. I've got the Warped. You can put the other ones on there. They all run really good. I just kind of picked one of the later ones where it ran, a little bit better impressively on the graphics. I found this is a great way to play Diablo, the original. The PS1 ROM runs really good on this, and with the gated controller in the arcade board, you can get those diagonals really easy. Highly recommend if you've never played the original Diablo on PlayStation. Inhinder, or Inhandler, is a Squaresoft shooter with a very cool twist. I've talked about it before, where you can switch arms, and it's very pretty visually as well. Highly recommend that. Gran Turismo, I put the first one on here just because it's a single disc. It runs pretty good. Playing it on the joystick isn't that bad. The first Gran Turismo run is better for this because this was before they have analog sticks, and the second one they kind of started tweaking it more for the analog sticks. Of course, Megaman, there is X4 too that you can put on here. I just put X5 and X6. That's just my personal favorites. Metal Gear Solid works really well on this. It's a great way to play it without having to pay $99 for the PlayStation 1 Classic. Mortal Kombat Trilogy. There's also Mortal Kombat 4. I picked the Trilogy, just good way, good action, runs really well on the system. Now this is a little bit different. I found that, and I'll put a link in the description, Police Knots. If you've never played it, it's one of Kojima's first, one of his first games after Snatcher. This is the American dubbed version, so they speak in Japanese, but there's English dubs. I found this and it works on the Retropie on your arcade 1UP. You're gonna need save states, and this has 2 discs. Disc 1, Disc 2. It's awesome. Soul Blade, you know you got to get your fight on. Soul Blade is the way to go back in the Retropie. Soul Gladiator is kind of like Soul Calibur with, futuristic. It's a good fit for this arcade game system on your arcade 1UP. Strider 2 is awesome. So Strider 1 is already going to be in your arcade image that I provided for you. But this thing is amazing. If you've never played the second Strider on PlayStation, it's a good play. And of course, you've got to have Tekken 3. Tekken 3 is phenomenal. It was you can also put Tekken 2 on there. Tekken 3 is just the most fleshed out, I feel. And you can play it on your Retropie on your arcade 1UP. And then lastly, so this last one doesn't have an image, and it's because I can't find a crazy named, but this is Road Blaster. So Road Blaster also came out on the Sega CD, and you could play it on that and actually have images and stuff, but it's a lot lower quality. What most people don't know is Road Blaster actually came out in Japan, and I'll boot this up real quick. Road Blaster is an FMV game, but it's a really cool FMV game with, you're basically driving a car. It's like Road Warrior meets FMV game. The Japanese PlayStation 1 version is phenomenal. I couldn't find... This is basically a game that came out on Laserdisc in the arcades, and that you can find the ROM, but it doesn't seem to work. I haven't found one that works anyway. So this is a good way to play this. It works really well on this system. As you can see, it's freaking awesome. And it looks beautiful. Other nice thing about this game, we're going to add some credits. This version has both the normal version and the arcade version, and you can select it. But this is kind of how it works. And let's see, brake, and okay, so that's brake, that's accelerator, and then you basically have to, oops, yeah, I wrecked, and I crashed, and it's going to show like an FMV. It's pretty awesome, if I was actually trying here. Select that, and you can even play 2 players too, which is great for the arcade top. Put our name in, and as you can see, we got our... See which one is our attack. Oh, that was my potion. There's my attack. And then I think this one opens. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. And I just pick up my stuff. Works great on this system. So we pick our character. So the cool thing about this game is it's like a normal fighter that you can turn into your wolf. Oh no! Oh, and then you get transport out. Oh no! I got my butt kicked, but pretty sweet. Oh. Jeez. As you can tell, it runs really well. I just suck at teching. There we go. Slow-mo. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm just going to also show you. I do also, by the way, have this set up so I can go back to the main menu. And so when it's just sitting here, instead of just sitting on idle, the screensaver comes up, and it literally will just pick a random game and show me image of it. And if I don't like that game, or if I want to play that game, I press the start button, and it will start the game up. If I don't, and I just want to keep seeing more gameplays, I can even just shift the stick to move to a new gameplay. But otherwise, it will just cycle every 20 seconds. It will pick a new one. It's pretty sweet. You can set something up like this too. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. It would help me out a lot. Check out the other videos. In the description, I will put some links for you for those CDH files, as well as links to maybe where you can download some of these ISOs for PlayStation. Not saying you shouldn't do it unless you own the games, guys. But anyway, thanks for watching, and this is Rivalboss signing off.